Threats to tropical biodiversity. Invasive alien species. A look at Acacia mangium in Trinidad. What is an invasive alien species? The Convention on Biological Diversity defines invasive alien species as those species whose introduction and/or spread outside their natural past or present distribution threatens biological diversity. They are a major threat to the unique and vulnerable variety of species and natural habitats found in the Caribbean, as well as to those people whose livelihoods depend on this biodiversity. Invasive alien species can be any plant, animal, pathogen, or any organism that is non-native to an ecosystem. However, unlike animals, most people tend to look on plants with a sense of indifference or consider all plants to be beneficial because they are unaware of the social, economic, and ecological costs and long-term impacts of introducing these exotics into local environments. Acacia mangium is a tree belonging to the Fabaceae bean family and is native to Australia, Queensland, Moluccan Islands, Papua New Guinea, and Indonesia. Common names include black wattle, brown salwood, hickory wattle, mangium, or acacia. It is an important multi-purpose tree and is one of the most widespread of the fast-growing tree species used in plantation forestry programs throughout Asia, the Pacific, and the humid tropics. It is a medium-sized to fairly large tree measuring up to 35 meters tall. Its bole is branchless for up to 15 meters and can measure up to 90 centimeters in diameter. The bark's surface is fissured near the base and of a grayish to dark brown color, whereas the inner bark is a paler shade of brown. The pods of the tree are broad, linear, and irregularly coiled, and membranous to woody in texture. The inflorescence is composed of many small white or cream flowers arranged on 10 cm spikes that occur singly or in pairs. Is Acacia mangium really invasive? An international provenance trial using Acacia mangium was conducted in the 1980s, in which Trinidad and several other countries were involved. Since then, A. mangium has exhibited invasive characteristics in Africa, Western Australia, Bangladesh, and Brazil. I consulted the curator of the National Herbarium of Trinidad and Tobago, Mrs. Yasmin Baksh Kamo, and she expressed that currently Acacia mangium has the greatest potential of becoming an invasive species in Trinidad and threatening our native flora. I interviewed Mr. Carlton Roberts, Director of Forest Resource Inventory Management in the Ministry of Environment and Water Resources, who was directly involved in the provenance trials of Acacia mangium in the 1980s.
What we have used it for is for rehabilitation of degraded areas, because it can grow very fast and it sort of resists fire. What we found out is that after the fire, there would be prolific seedling growth. And as I told you, there is a relationship between the germination and fires. The seed requires scarification, that is some pre-treatment in order to break the hard tester. So, heat in this particular seed, heat is used as the medium to break the tester and allow the embryo to come out. So it is dispersed by birds. So the birds would drop the seed all over, but the seed would remain there until a fire would pass. Once the fire passes and the seed coat is scorched, the embryo would come out at the first rate.
The seeds are dispersed when small birds consume the oily funicle, or they eventually fall to the ground under the mother trees. A. mangium exhibits early maturity and high production of low-mass seeds, which are essential characteristics for acquiring invasive status. Growing under the canopy cover of native tree species increases its chances of becoming invasive, as native trees provide shade for seedlings that is critical for lowering soil temperature and reducing evapotranspiration. Native trees also serve as perches for seed-dispersing birds, so seedlings have a greater chance of long-distance dispersal and survival. Bushmacro Trinidad and Tobago, a website composed of local volunteer ecologists, made this statement. Its seeds actually benefit from fire, something that is not natural to any of our systems in Trinidad, as all our fires are started by human influence, either on purpose or accidentally. With increasing forest fires, invasive species such as Acacia mangium could rapidly take over our natural vegetation.
Where we planted them?
Yeah.
We planted them in Mount Harris. We planted as experiments in Mount Harris, Milau, that's on the Toco Road. We planted some in Mon Diablo, and we planted some in Catskill in South Trinidad. We also planted some in Centennial, and the Aripo Livestock Station took some to plant around the fence of their livestock area. And within a short space of time, those seeds, we saw a proliferation of seedlings on the other side of the road. So if you go up there, you'll see a lot of Acacia mangium. On the northern range, we planted them as there's as many locations as there's degraded land. We planted them there because they give a quick ground cover.
What are the effects of Acacia mangium on local flora? Native plant species function as nurse trees that facilitate the growth and long-term establishment of other native species and play a key role in maintaining biological diversity. When a mangium reaches adulthood, it can form thickets, causing excessive amounts of shading for native species that initially provided the environment for its establishment. This reduces the species richness of native plants, disrupts nutrient cycling, and alters the vegetation structure in native areas. What is being done to manage Acacia mangium locally? Invasive plants, if left unchecked, will naturalize and eventually dominate the landscape, displacing local species. Invasive alien species in the Caribbean is being addressed through a regional project, mitigating the threat of invasive alien species in the insular Caribbean. The project has been implemented in the Bahamas, the Dominican Republic, Jamaica, St. Lucia, and Trinidad and Tobago. It hopes to strengthen existing national strategies and foster regional cooperation in dealing with this threat. Measures include prevention, early detection and rapid response, eradication and control, and management. Countries must bear additional costs of monitoring programs, as delays in management can impede the reversal of invasion or even lead to secondary invasions. What is the new system are you trying to implement for records management?
Oh, the recording, we are now trying to acquire a bit of software from a service provider in the United States. And that piece of software gives the opportunity for us to record every activity that we do in the forestry division. Every outdoor activity, from land preparation to planting to seedling production to tending and harvesting. So with that software, every one of the units or the departments out in the field will be entering their information onto it, and we will be manipulating that information at a central location. So 10 years down the road, if we want to find out anything about Acacia mangium throughout Trinidad and Tobago, we just go on the piece of software, because go on the system and it will be there. The system is built so that it can be updated. You have to hear, you can put query or ask it a question. Give me all the Acacia mangium fields that are more than 1 hectare large. And it will give you by geographic location and the whole works. So I see that as our way of recording all the forestry experiences, and we can can retrieve them, and even out of that bit of software we can generate reports.
Finally, public awareness through the participation of communities and the general public is essential to stop the introduction and spread of invasive alien species in the Caribbean. Therefore, it is imperative that knowledge and understanding of the threat they pose be enhanced throughout the region, hence the purpose of this video. As a result, emphasis must be placed on capacity building not just among government staff and other practitioners, but the general public as well. Thanks for watching.